Hey, in today's episode of The Secrets in the Powder Room, I'm joined by Shelley as we delve deep into the process of healing after trauma. Shelley opens up about her journey to recovery and the diverse methods she has explored along the way. We'll discuss how Shelley has navigated finding the right support, from professional therapy to alternative healing techniques, and the crucial role each step played in her recovery. We'll also highlight the importance of self-compassion in celebrating one's strengths throughout the journey. Join us as we explore the empowering effects of seeking out the right kind of support and the profound impact it has on one's path to healing. Keep listening for an insightful conversation about support, resilience, and the power of self-compassion. Welcome to The Secrets in the Powder Room, where we share stories and open up conversations about all the secrets women are forced to keep out of fear and shame. I'm Louise Bryant, professional certified coach, intuitive eating counsellor, and trauma-informed domestic abuse specialist and survivor. We're here to support you on your healing journey and help you feel like you're not alone. This is not to be a replacement of your own professional, medical, or legal advice. This podcast contains adult language and content. Listener discretion is advised. Thank you for coming and talking on the podcast. I'm very excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So what secrets have you been keeping out of fear or shame?
So I suppose the main one is reverberations of domestic abuse. And some of the questions that I frequently get asked are about my physical scars and how I got them.
Okay. Obviously, this is a podcast, so we can't see your physical scars. So could you give us a little bit of context?
So I've had 2 lots of surgery, specifically around my ankle. I've got some very red scar tissue there, which I'm gradually treating, so hoping it turns white and I can get a tattoo over it at some point, but it's something that's going to take some time. Yes, 2 lots of surgery. So this was the climax of my abusive relationship that I was in, and that was the pinnacle of the relationship and how it all came to an end, which I'm incredibly grateful for that it came to an end. But yeah, it's one of the really difficult things to sort of discuss with people.
So what is your answer when people ask you what happened?
Well, I normally just say, I broke my ankle, I rolled over on my ankle, and I don't go into any detail. I think you pick and choose, your moments to who you tell, because some people can be quite shocked. And it was certainly something that was frequently asked when I was interviewing for jobs, because I had a time gap on my CV as well. And I just popped in there, time off surgery. People still want to know.
What kind of surgery and what for?
Yeah. And whether, because they want to know you're fit enough to do the job as well, that, even though I'm sitting at a desk, but yeah, I still have to get to the desk.
Yeah. And how did all this affect you?
So I've just sort of mentioned 2 lots of surgery. So there's the physical side of things and not being able to do what I could previously. I lost my job as well. I think that was a mutual sort of decision that I was struggling to get into the office.
Because of your ankle?
Yeah. But when I say I lost my job, it was because of the incident. It wouldn't have happened otherwise. I was also teaching body combat at the time, and that's very physical, and that's something that I couldn't do. So that was 2 lots of job. I ended up on antidepressants.
Did they help?
No, well, not the most effective. So I can't really say they might have helped me from not getting any worse, maybe.
Took the edge off, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But they don't deal with the root cause. No. Spent all of my savings because I wasn't working.
Yeah.
Actually, just having a massive confidence crisis as well. And that is something that I'm still working on. And that's a long-lasting effect. So
yeah.
The relationship came to an end in 2015. So it's like 8 years ago. It had been out of the relationship, no contact. But still, these effects still.
And you're still having trouble with your ankle now?
Yeah, not as bad, thankfully, because I've had the plate and pins taken out, and they were taken out in 2018. And okay. I was having a lot more swelling before the plate and pins were taken out. Now the issues that I have now, arthritis related. So in cold weather, the joints can get painful, very painful. But thankfully, it's probably better than it has been over the last 8 years, which is a positive. See, another thing that lasted was the lack of trust. And that went for everybody, not just for potential partners. I was very guarded, and I went through a court case. So he was found guilty and there was a restraining order put on him, which lasted for 2 years. But I did actually eventually end up moving after the 2 years, and moving completely out of the county as well.
And do you think that's because the injunction was coming to an end and you wanted out, or was there other reasons behind it?
There was other reasons as well, but I think I felt a lot better because I know that I can't be found. I know that if he tried to contact me online, I would have evidence that I could then go to the authorities with if there was any sort of harassment there, but you just don't know. I think there's less chance of bumping into him on the streets where I am now. And it does make you just feel a little bit more safe.
Yeah. No, I get that. I did the same thing. So yeah, it's not for all them same reasons, but it was just so you don't bump into him around the corner in the corner shop and stuff, isn't it? In the local Morrisons or...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So was there anything else that affected you?
The managing of the physical pain and choosing not to get into a relationship again, not immediately. But yeah, you just, I suppose you feel kind of isolated because you're not communicating with people that you would work with either, managing that physical pain, which means you can't actually go out as much as you would have done. Yeah, just thinking, how am I going to get myself back on board and to where I used to be and be happier? So it was I'd lost the joy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Enjoying life at all.
And when you're in pain, it's like it has that kind of effect, isn't it? They say sort of like your mental health and your pain, kind of like your pain makes your mental health worse, and your mental health makes your pain worse. So it's kind of you're battling when you've got this going on and you're in physical pain as well as left with a bit of sort of like the trauma of what happened. It's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I did actually seek out some professional help through the NHS, for therapy. And even when I was in the relationship with the ex-partner, there was a lot of me that was the problem. And even then, whilst in the relationship, it's like, well, if it's me that's the problem, I'm the one that needs the therapy.
Obviously, you wasn't the problem. It was the other party that was clearly the problem.
I need to go and get someone to help me because it's all my fault. My attitudes, it does really affect you mentally as well. So not just the physical side of it, but... Yeah.
What sense did you make of all of this when you was going through this?
So I suppose that I was solely responsible for the situation. That kind of crosses over as to how it affected me as well. But
you felt you was solely responsible, but you weren't?
Was now being the operative term, because I'm gradually learning that I'm not and haven't been, and that's through other things that I've been doing. But also I felt incapable. So I was still, the sense of it was like, this is still all down to me, until I'd sort of learned and had it pointed out that no, it wasn't. I thought I was, I wasn't able to be helped as well because, antidepressants hadn't helped. Some traditional NHS therapies hadn't helped. And I just thought, I'm destined to be on my own. That's it.
So what did work for you in the end? What did you have to do to survive all of this?
So moving house was one. That was beneficial, although it was just part of the healing process. But that meant I had to use my savings, all of them. I had to use my savings before I moved house as well, just to pay my rent. I was applying for jobs, and that was so difficult. That was probably a process. Getting the job that I actually wanted and was qualified for was probably a process of maybe a year and a half, because I did take time out where I wasn't looking for work because there was the court case, and I just needed the space as well to let things sort of sink in.
And was you supported when you were out of work? Did you get any financial support or support from anyone else?
No financial support, no.
Because you had savings?
Yeah, I did go and try to get some help. and was told, no, you need to go to the job centre and get a job.
Mm.
The only support I really had was emotional support from my mum.
Good old mum, eh?
And and some close friends, you know. But it's the emotional side, and I think that's probably more important, because that's what helps you sort of get into the frame of mind where, you know, I can get back out there, I can work again, and I can gradually build up my confidence again. And like I said, I also sought help. And I haven't stopped trying to get help. I didn't give up trying to get help. And I think I was always offered, tablets, antidepressants, and then the standard cognitive behavioural therapy, which...
And this happens a lot. I hear this a lot, you know, antidepressants and cognitive behavioural therapy. Sometimes it's group cognitive behavioural therapy, which can be, you know, I've just undergone some cognitive behavioural therapy for trauma, and it's been amazing. But I know that lots of women that have come through my courses have spoke about CBT in groups or doing it online, or like a self-paced course, and it's not as effective. It just seems like that's a quick fix for the doctor to go, okay, there's a course and there's an antidepressant and domestic abuse, you're all fixed.
Yeah. And they you can either have it on the phone or you can do it yourself online, but it's because they can measure you, try and make it tangible, really. But I mean, I'm not knocking CBT, it's got its place, but it's definitely not for trauma.
Yeah, non-specific CBT, definitely.
When I was eventually working, so still in the job that I am now, so grateful for that. We've got a service where I can go through a health provider and get some mental health support subsidised.
Okay, that's good.
And I found EMDR.
Yeah, eye movement desensitisation reprocessing.
And that was great at the time, very helpful. Glad that I did it, but there's definitely therapies out there that the NHS don't offer and that I think are really vital.
Absolutely. You mentioned the EMDR, didn't you? The eye movement desensitisation reprocessing. But you've also got tapping, or known as EFT, or emotional freedom technique, and internal family systems therapy, and somatic experiences, and also general counselling and talk therapy can be really useful. Virtual reality exposure therapy. You can also do the bilateral movements, so getting your right and left side of your brain working together. It's like doing drumming or walking or jogging, but also like physical exercise or breathing and meditation, mindfulness, community, safe touch, telling your story. Obviously, you coming here today, Shelley, and telling your story is really good therapy, mindfulness. But yeah, doing the work. I think it's getting that right support and doing.
But I was really keen on just trying EMDR because it was a technique that. But I've done something with you as well, Louise.
Oh yes, we did the rewind technique.
We did, and again that was something that was completely innovative to me, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, and that's where you don't have to relive the trauma. Like, you don't have to tell me what the trauma, the therapist, what the trauma is. You just go through a process, don't you, in your mind, and it's 2 to 3 sessions, and it can really help. Did it help you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So I wasn't always reacting when I found myself being triggered, and I can I can process it a bit better as well. And it's helped me to sleep a lot better.
Well, it's the point. It just moves the trauma from your short-term memory into the long-term memory, so that you can access it still if you need to work on it and talk to your therapist about it. But it just stops coming up at night when it's like, oh, hello, remember me?
Yeah.
Hello. It's like, push it back down like a rubber duck. Push it back down, goes, hello, pops back up. So yeah, just move it into the long-term memory. And well, that's good. I'm glad that helped. Is there anything else that you would, tips or advice you'd offer anyone going through any trauma or?
Well, the other thing that I've been doing is the course, a course with other ladies that have been through similar. Yeah. That you're running as well. Yeah. And that's been, I would definitely say, get on that. It doesn't matter how far through or from the situation you are, it's still beneficial for me 8 years down the line. Absolutely. It's been fantastic.
And it's the community as well that you get with that course, isn't it? It's not just doing the work, it's having the women that just get it.
Yeah.
Along, got your back. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. You're not being judged.
No.
People's experiences, although they're very different, they still boil down to very similar theories, which are all explored in the course. It's very educational. It's really informative. So my tip would be don't give up, just persevere. And look into those alternative therapies. You know, there are things out there that are supportive. So don't just think, I've had something through the NHS, it didn't help, nothing's going to help. There's still stuff out there. I'd say always be kind to yourself. I think that's something that when you're in one of those relationships, you're not very kind to yourself, and you believe and take on all the negative talk, and it's a long process. So I'd say pace yourself. Don't expect miracles overnight. It's a really long journey, but definitely persevere. Celebrate the wins as well. Yeah. And your strengths. And I think that's the lovely thing about the course as well that we're doing, is we're celebrating our strengths, how far we've come.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think also just lastly, just to say you can move on, because I'm lucky enough that I have moved on, and I've been in a loving relationship, a really healthy, loving relationship. And that is possible. I know I carried some stuff with me into the relationship, and I was very open and honest about it. And it took a while to work through, but it's possible.
Yeah, and that's a really important message, I think, because a lot of women get really scared to ever let anybody in again. And if that's your choice, that's fine. But if you are someone, everyone deserves to be loved, don't they? And it's just, it's just, why should that person that's treated you badly or been abusive towards you win by saying, well, you'll never be loved? You're making you feel almost unlovable or untrusting of anybody ever again. And, if you're someone who loves to be loved, which, we are beings that want to, we're pack beings, aren't we? We need companionship, and, and I know a lot of people say, I don't want to ever meet anyone again. But is that through fear of meeting someone like your ex, or is it because you genuinely just want to be alone? And, again, that's just
combination, isn't it? But I would say it's really important, and this is something that I did, was to set boundaries. Yeah. I had those boundaries set out, and you're more aware of the red flags, so if you don't be scared, if you do start seeing behaviours that maybe you may have seen in your ex, you're aware of them, deal with them.
And the thing is, as well, as I say, if you're in a loving relationship and they do something that does trigger you, if you're able to speak to them about that in a safe way and they take that on board, and they say, well, because I remember early in my relationship, I think we had too much to drink, and I was Larry Cow back then. Bought that from my ex. I was a bit like, I would test the waters. I would see how far I could push to see, will this man actually hit me? And he just grabbed my arms and held me down, held my arms down. Right? And I was like, I froze, and I was like, I'm leaving. That's it. We're done. You never, ever, ever touch me. No one ever, ever touches me. And he was like, he'd never, ever, ever done anything like that ever again. And it was just like, that was a boundary that I had. And it's like, no one ever, I'm gone. That would be, it wasn't like a hit or anything like that. He just literally just held my arms next to me like that. So I was restrained from being my scatty self. And I was like, you don't restrain me. Yeah. And it was, and he was like mortified. And he was like, I would never, I don't know what walked into me. I just did it, and I'm just sorry, and I'll never do it again. And, for us to be able to have that conversation, and I was safe, and it never escalated, and it's never happened again, like 12 years down the line. So to be able to say, you've overstepped here and I won't tolerate that, but keeping your tolerance level not too far that you don't accept nothing.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, I mean, like now I wouldn't accept name calling.
No.
To me, that's an early red flag. And that was something that sort of led on to the escalation that it did. It was like, well, hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? And looking back and going, well, I won't accept that anymore.
Yeah, we have a rule in my house, no name calling. I don't let my children call each other names. So we don't call each other names in this house. It's not that's not kind of thing to do. So yeah, and it keeps them having them boundaries, hopefully moving into their older years of, you know.
Yeah, I think they're healthy. They're healthy to have boundaries, you know. And you're respecting yourself.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't respect yourself, you're not going to, you know, stick up for yourself.
Yeah, and I offer a boundary setting workshop within my membership, and also it's available on my website.
Yeah, I can't say that I did anything specific, but I do remember the conversations I had with my current partner, sort of say, was interviewing him before I considered a relationship. Yes. What's your competencies? What do you bring to the table? But he asked a really good question, is what do you want in a relationship? And I said, I want a co-pilot, because this isn't something that I had previously. I said, so by a co-pilot, that means, you know, you can take control when things are down and I need the support if something's going on with me, but that works both ways. That's equal. And likewise, you trust me to do the same for you when things are going along. But also I was like, I'm not prepared to enter this relationship because I've got a lot of baggage. And my baggage didn't include children. But I said, I'm not willing to unpack my baggage just yet. And I do remember him as well. At the beginning of the relationship, he did say to me, oh, you're really cold, you are. I said, actually, I'd call that guarded. And that's going to take some time. You know, you're just going to have to bear with me.
He was patient and he waited.
Oh, very. Oh, yeah, very.
Yeah.
We're engaged, so yay.
Is this a new thing?
Well, a year.
Okay.
We've been engaged for a year, yeah.
And there's wedding bells ringing anytime soon?
No, there's no plans like that. It's just, you know.
It's a commitment ring.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So there is a happy ending. Yeah.
Yay. Awesome. Well, thank you for coming and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Secrets in the Powder Room with me, Louise Bryant. And I just want to remind you that I offer a supportive community, boundary setting workshops, self-care courses, meditations, one-to-one coaching, and food and body freedom courses, and also a membership. All the details are in the description. And my work is dedicated to helping you rebuild all areas of your life after trauma or abuse. So to dive deeper into the pillars of thriving, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode where we will explore each pillar in depth. So we'll be having pillow talk. And if you found value in our content, please leave a review to help others discover our podcast. Thank you so much for being part of our community. And remember, you are not alone.